Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you would like to get an awesome new PC you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alright, so tonight we're going to be building this awesome PC here. So this is for what's his name? I'm going to give you his Twitch name. Teameks Twitch. Hopefully I'm not destroying his channel's name.
This is Let's Go, man, Tim.
Awesome. I'm not destroying your name, am I? Is it Teameks Twitch?
Corey says, welcome back.
Hey Corey, how you going?
I'm saying this is a big build tonight.
Yep, this is a big one, definitely. So, let's get started. All right. So, we're going to be using. I was saying today it's a 5950. It's actually a 5900. I had that wrong. What's that?
15 EKS on Twitch.
15 EKS on Twitch. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And what do you stream? All right. So like I said, Ryzen 5900X. We're putting it on an Aorus B550 Master motherboard. We've got ourselves a Gigabyte RTX 3080 Ti gaming OC. So we'll put that down to the side here for now.
Tim,
Yeah.
he says New World War Zone right now, yee.
Love it. Awesome. Sweet as. Well, we've got 32 gigabytes of Trident Z Neo memory. We've got a Samsung 980 Pro 1TB NVMe SSD. We've got ourselves a Gigabyte P850GM 80 plus gold power supply. We've got some nice white Lian Li fans to go with our Lian Li case. We've got a Silverstone PF360W all-in-one liquid cooler. It's got the nice snowflake on the CPU block, which goes really nice with these white builds. And of course, we have some RGB cable extensions as well. Yes, absolutely. So I'm sure everyone loves seeing the big ones like this. So I'm sure you'll all enjoy seeing it get put together and seeing me run a few benchmarks on it. So that's awesome.
I'm really into the new world at the moment.
Yeah, cool. Alrighty, so this is the Aorus Master motherboard. So it comes in this nice little box within a box. So you know you're getting something nice. Get some Aorus Go Faster stickers in here. Oh, we get a whole heap of accessories. So we got a Wi-Fi antenna here. Chuck that over there. We have some cable tie downs. I don't usually use them. I'm more a zip tie person myself. We have a noise sensor. We have 12 volt RGB extension, a 5 volt Corsair to generic RGB converter. We have 2 temp indicator wires. We have an easy connection piece for our front panels. And we have two packs of SATA cables. Alrighty. And obviously we've got our manual and our optical disc, which we really need. So, let's just... box wants to go back together. So let's have a look at this motherboard. So if you catch my channel regularly, you've probably seen this board before. We've used it quite a number of times. Oh, geez, I used a long bit of tape on that. Okay. So here it is. Let's get rid of this. Yep. And we got more. Alrighty. So let's have a look at this board. So it's a board that's got reinforcement on the back here. So it's got this metal on it just to keep it extra safe. Where's my anti-static glove? It's always down here on my foot. I never wear it on my hand because that's getting in the way. So you'll never ever see me with it, but I keep it down here on my foot, and it's connected to a power supply that's connected to a ground cable. So I am grounded. So yeah, you can always count on that. Like a lot of people who do this like on YouTube and stuff like that, they will actually have the anti-static strap on. They just won't have it. They'll have it attached to their foot like how I do. So that's the mad yeah, that's the good trick to do. If you have it on your foot, it's a lot easier to just to work in general, but it's also good because it keeps it out of the way. Oh. And if you pull on it too fast with your hand, you'll actually disconnect it, just how I did then, because it's designed so if you pull on it, it will actually come apart and come off. So if I keep it at my foot, there'll be less movement at my foot, and so it's more likely to stay on when I move around. And also, if I get up suddenly, it'll still come off my foot nice and easily. So yeah, no, so like a lot of people do it. Like if you go and ask a few people around who do things live, a lot of people will just put it on the foot. It's so much easier. Makes so much more sense to me. Like I can understand if you're working in a production line and your work area is like up here and you're sitting in the one spot and all you're doing is like soldering on like capacitors or something like that. I can understand why, you know, have it on your arm, and like in those environments usually the anti-static strap's connected to a bar above you, so it's the cable's always going up, so it's out of the way. Whereas if I had the anti-static strap on my arm, where I'd be mounting it to would be like down on the ground. I don't have like a special cable running above my head there to mount it to like that. So yeah, you'll see it quite a lot, and you ask people about it and usually they'll be like, yeah, no, I have it on my foot. It's just so much easier to do all this. Anyway, got a bit sidetracked there. Anyway, let's just keep going. So we've got a fan header up here, and then we've got 12 pins of CPU power. So we only technically need the 8, but if we plug in the extra, we're going to be able to get some better overclocks from our CPU. So generally you buy a board like this, you'll have a power supply that will support 12 pins of CPU power, and so it's always good to yeah, get what you pay for. I think there's more. Yep.
Maybe you should have just left that bit.
Oh, like it wouldn't make a big difference, but technically all the sticky should be removed because usually the components are designed to be kind of like air cooled. If it's got like exposed metal like that, the engineers will design it thinking that, you know, it'll have good contact with the surrounding air. So generally best practice to remove it. If you'll see it in either on the sticky, sometimes they'll print that please remove before use, especially on graphics cards. But yeah, anyway. So like I said, we've got our 12 pins of CPU power, and then we've got all these heat sinks here on our MOSFET VRM co-processors, and we can see we've got these fins here as well. So that's just basically, we've got a direct touch heat sink all the way along there. I don't see a thermal, I don't see a pipe, so we don't have a heat pipe running through there, but we do have the fins on the direct touch heat sink. So with a bit of airflow through here, that will keep all of these components nice and cool. Ah, thanks, Jared. Really appreciate it. So yeah, obviously these power connections here power our CPU and help give our CPU very, very specific amounts of voltage. We don't want it being impacted by anything else on the motherboard. We just want the CPU to have its own power. And what have we got here for the nerds? We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, looks like 16 phase. So 16 phase power, so it'll give really, really, really good voltage control to all of those components there. So all really nerdy shit. Yeah, basically, without like getting too nerdy about it, having all this, you put a really high-powered processor in here. All of this stuff around here also gets a workout, right? Because you can't put something high-powered in here without taxing all the other stuff around it, right? So if you put something high-powered here, we need to have good heat sinks on all this stuff because it gets really hot as well. So anyway, and that's what you get on motherboards that are like $300 and above. You'll always get a really robust cooling system through here. And so up here we've got 2 fan headers, so that's a total of 3 along the top here. This one here, this is where the noise sensor pins are. So I'll take that little jumper out there. I'll remember to put it in that way. And then we've got a 5 volt RGB header, a 12 volt RGB header. We've got dual channel memory here, so 4 slots, 2 channels. So these 2 would be 1 channel, and these 2 would be another channel. Then over here we've got this postcode indicator LED. So this is really handy, especially if you overclock and stuff like that, because if you do something wrong, this will give you an error code if your computer won't turn on properly. Or if it's not turning on, it'll show a number of different codes cycling through them, and it'll give you some insight as to what the problem is and what the solution might be. So it's always good to have them. For me personally, for my own rig, I always look for a motherboard that has that. That's a feature that I consider to be like, I really want that. Mick's here on YouTube again. Hey Mick, enjoying Facebook jail over in YouTube land?
Time out.
Yeah, time out. Facebook jail. And we've got our 24 pin ATX power. This powers all the other stuff on our motherboard basically. We've got another 3 fan headers over here, which is what I like to see. I like to see fan headers all in a line in certain parts of the board, especially along the edge. I don't like seeing them too far in the middle. And they haven't put any in the middle there, which is excellent. Makes cable management a lot nicer in terms of the neatness.
Tim?
Yeah.
Jamie's smashing out these builds, Tim.
I know, mate, it's busy time of year. So we've got these other 2 pins over here, which are temp sensor pins, so we can hook those temp sensor wires up to it if we want. They're completely optional. We've got a Thunderbolt port there, plus we've got 6 horizontal SATA ports there. We've got our front panel connections there. These 2 pins above it is the clear CMOS pins. So if we want to reset our motherboard to factory settings after we key in an overclock that doesn't work, that's the pins that we touch with our screwdriver. This next little one here is the Trusted Platform Module header. So this is the thing for Windows 11 that everyone's talking about. We've got a USB 3 down the bottom there. Not the best position on the motherboard, but I'll take it. We've got another 2 fan headers here, so that's a total of 8. We've got 2 USB 2s, another 2 temp sensor pins. We've got a 12 volt RGB header, a 5 volt RGB header, demo LED, and our front panel audio connections for our microphone and speaker inputs on the front of our case.
Mick's got 1 day to go.
1 day to go in Facebook jail for Mick. Oh, we'll see Mick again soon in Facebook land. Alright, so this, like I said, this is an audio connection here. These little capacitors up here, these gold ones, these are audio capacitors. You'll see it says amp up audio here. Has this shroud. So this is the purpose of this shroud. It's not just to look cool. It's partially to help insulate the audio from other electromagnetic signals on the motherboard, because audio is obviously an electrical signal, so it's subject to electromagnetic interference. That's why you have these special highly insulated gold capacitors for it and all this. And then we'll always find our audio down here on the back of our motherboard as close as possible to the audio on our board there. So obviously we've got our audio there. We've got 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. We've got a total of 6 USB 3.2s. One of them is a Type C. And then we have 6 USB 2.0s. We have a HDMI port there, which won't be in use for this build. And we have Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.1. So I'm going to grab a little HDMI plug and I'm going to put that in there right now. Because believe it or not, it's one of the common things that happens when you sell someone a new PC. Is that, you know, they'll be like, someone's like their first gaming PC and they'll plug into the motherboard instead of the graphics card, and they'll wonder why they're not getting a display signal. So I like to put the plugs in there like nice and early so I remember, and then the customer realizes, oh hang on, I'm not meant to use that one. Although sometimes they just pull them out anyway, but yeah. Anyway, so all we haven't spoken about now is just this stuff in the center here. There's another 12 volt RGB header there, and then we've got triple M2 slots here. So the top one and 2 other ones down there. Then we have our PCIe X16 slot, this silver one here, and then it looks like 2 X4 slots down the bottom there. So if you had like a Wi-Fi card that only had the little PCIe connector, you can still plug that into these big slots. Okay, you can always plug a smaller PCIe device into a bigger slot. Okay, so never let that get in your, like, dictate your decision as to what motherboard you should buy, because you can always, like I said, you can always plug that smaller device into the bigger slot. And there are some motherboards with X1 slots where one of the ends is open, so you can still plug a bigger card into the smaller slot. I got a new motherboard for the test bench, and it's actually got that on that board. So I could plug a full-length graphics card into the little X1 slots on that, because the end of it's open.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't run at full X16 speed. Might be a bit of a slideshow. Anyway. And that's pretty much it. Down here, under this part here, this is where the B550 lives. So this is where the chipset is. What? I don't know what the watts in regards to.
Explain what you were just talking about.
What? I thought I did explain it. Let's change to the right screwdriver piece. So we'll start with our M2 drive. So we've got this little heat pad here, bit of protector for it. Just put that down there. It's nice and clean.
So that was in regards to big cards and small slots.
Oh.
Surprise, that's all.
Oh, yeah, no, it's only certain slots. Like, the majority of motherboards don't have that. It's one of those things that typically it's popular with people who are using the motherboards for cryptocurrency mining and stuff, because they want the extra what do you call it? They want the extra PCIe slots to plug all their graphics cards into, but they don't need them to run at X16 speed for mining. They don't care if they're running at X1, they just need it connected. And so in that situation, yeah, that's where you could use that motherboard. If you got a motherboard that had 6 PCIe slots and the X1 slots were like that, then you wouldn't have to buy the riser cables that you need to install in their place. So there's a cost saving there. See, that's one of the little finer points. Not everyone knows that one. But see, I'm not a big fan of cryptocurrency mining. I think it's just like a waste of energy, basically. Like, I get that people make money off it and stuff, but I just like, fuck is this? Doesn't seem like a good way of using that electricity. Like, because a lot of, I don't think we have green enough electricity grid to just do whatever the fuck for whatever the fuck, if you know what I mean. Alright, let's get our memory installed. So we've got our G-Skill Trident Z Neo. Let's drop that in there. In first channel, and let's drop this one in here in the second channel. There we go. What's that?
Neo makes me think of Matrix.
Haha, Trident Z Neo. Yes. I guess with G-Skill, they definitely take the red pill at G-Skill. Alrighty. So here it is. Ryzen 9 5900X. The king for now. Until Big Little comes. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know what Big Little is, babe?
No.
So, do you know about Intel's new architecture for Gen 12?
I heard that they were changing it, but I don't really know anything about it.
Okay. So if you don't know too much about that, Intel is moving to what they call Big Little core architecture. So they're going to have big cores and little cores. The big cores are like cores that you would imagine now, right? No. She's laughing that there's like a full-on like ultra technical reason for it. But basically, they're gonna have big cores and little cores. The big cores are gonna be like what you know of cores now. They've got 2 threads, right? The little cores just have 1 thread. So they're gonna be releasing a 16-core i9 desktop CPU, but unlike the 5950X, which is another 16-core, that has 16 cores and 32 threads, the new i9 will have 16 cores and 24 threads, because of the 8 little cores are only single-threaded. So there is really nerdy reasons why that works out in terms of how data is processed, I guess you would say. But essentially, there's rumors that 12th gen has about a 30% performance increase in terms of single-threaded performance for gaming on top of Ryzen 5000. I don't know if that's true. That's the rumor that's going around right now. So do with that. Think about that. it's got, and fundamentally they're pulling it off because of their multi-core architecture using 2 different types of cores. So interesting times ahead. It's due to launch in a couple of months, so we can all see that. But for now, the Ryzen 5000 is the king of desktop CPUs, and even when the Intel one comes out, Ryzen 5000 is still going to be excellent. Just because something new comes out that might be a little bit better than that, that's always going to happen. But your rig doesn't become shitter because they released a new one that's a bit better, if that makes sense. Alright, what have we got left? We've got our memory in there. We've got everything, I think. We can just move on to the cooler now. Yeah.
Kind of like Apple's M1 chip.
Yeah. Similar to that. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on anything Apple. I'm not a fan of Apple. I haven't been a fan of Apple ever. But yes, they are moving. They are moving to like a different sort of architecture, and it's kind of similar to what Intel are doing. But see, Apple's sort of going all for like the little, whereas Intel's going, yeah, we see why you're doing the little, for energy efficiency and other like efficiencies. But Intel have just sort of gone, yeah, no, but there's still a place for big cores, essentially. And that the sweet spot is a mixture of both. So...
It says Intel Spin.
Intel Spin. Oh well, look, I don't know. Like I said, it is rumors. It is rumors at this point. But what's that?
Have you experienced computers?
Yeah. Yes. And I get I get messages from people, not really through Facebook, mainly through Marketplace all the time. Oh, can you fix my Apple that's got this wrong with it or that wrong with it? And I just tell them, nah. I'm like, I don't support Apple products. Sorry, mate. You bought an Apple, go back to the Apple repair place and they'll give you an Apple price for your Apple repair for your Apple computer. Because that's what Apple do. With Apple, you just, if you've got $2,500 to spend, you can just go spend $2,500 and you get to have the exact same $2,500 computer that everyone else who has $2,500 gets. And you don't have to worry about the specs because you know that you have a $2,500 Apple computer. And a $2,500 Apple computer is a $2,500 Apple computer. And you can be one of the millions then. You can be all happy and you can think that it's wonderful.
Jesse says hey Tim.
Hey Jesse, how you going? Yeah, no. Apple's great, you know, if you don't care about, like, you know, your own freedom of choice. You just want, like, the same as everybody else. Apple is where it's at. I mean, I knew they were up to no good back in the iPod days. Just trying to get iTunes removed from a Windows computer completely required scrubbing the registry for all these obscure entries and stuff like. Oh, it's just.
It's like
yeah, exactly. Christine my wife's been with me for ages. You remember what, like 10, 12 years ago with iPods?
Yeah.
Do you remember me like absolutely going nuts
Yeah.
about how hard it was to remove this shit, and
Yeah,
that
I
it was
watched you
basically
do it.
malware, and when I'm never buying another fucking Apple device ever.
That's when
Yeah.
you swapped over to VCL. There's a player.
Yeah. Which ironically got famous on Apple's platform. Funny how things like that work out.
Jesse says, yeah, good mate, excited for Monday.
Yes, absolutely.
For listeners, I know how I call computers. Rachel says, will my ARSB 450 Elite be able to handle the Ryzen 9? I've got a 3600, just not sure if the 9 is compatible.
With a BIOS update, you should be okay with a Ryzen 5000 on that board. I haven't personally like gone and hooked up a Ryzen 5000 to a B450. I wouldn't sell a customer that, because if they wanted a Ryzen 5000, I'd get a B550 board, because, well, you buy a new computer. Why would I sell you a motherboard that's like old and requires like BIOS updates to make it compatible with the latest stuff? That doesn't seem good. That's what other places do that buy like 100 motherboards at a time, like, and then try and flog them off to everyone. I don't do that. You can pick your own motherboard. I buy like extra. I buy like extra
stuff to find a different one.
Yeah, I buy things. I buy things I buy in bulk. Popular cases, memory, SSDs, power supplies, Wi-Fi, fans.
Keyboard and mouse if you need one.
Yeah, like these are like just generic sort of things. When it comes to like cases and CPUs and things like that. Yeah, motherboards. Yeah, I try not to buy anything substantial, so I don't have to like force a certain board on people because I've got too much stock or whatever. Alrighty, so got some thermal compound down. Let's get this back piece on, and oh, jeez. One day that'll happen. I'll break the table, and my stream will get like 10 million views because it'll be funny. I'd even have to make a snippet and just post it as a YouTube video. There we go. Perfect. And so I'll probably just top mount this. Top mounted, and we'll run the fans here in the exhaust position. Okay. Just drop all these screws in. So this is the funnest part about building computers, it's just all the screws. And like, Like Mick was like, "Oh, get an electric screwdriver and stuff." It's like, yeah, but I'm not sure how much time that would even really save me. Because with an electric screwdriver, I've got to be more careful in terms of like if my hand slips and stuff like that, I could scratch something. I'd run it on like low torque settings as low as I could get away with, but you know, potentially I could thread some screws, potentially. And yeah, threaded screws. You get a threaded screw, and then all the like seconds that you gain starts going down the toilet, essentially.
So,
Yeah.
what's your opinions on thermal paste use?
Thermal paste use. Use it. Yeah, get the best thermal paste that you can afford, that you can rationalize buying. If you can't afford to buy any sort of high grade stuff, just make sure you use enough of it. Don't use too much of it. There's not really too much point in that. I don't get out the microgram scales or anything like that and like measure precise amount of thermal paste. I just know from experience from putting them down a lot how much that I need. Maybe sometimes I might put a little bit more on there. Maybe sometimes I might put a little bit less on there. But it's always a bare minimum of the amount that we need. So, you know, if you have a little bit too much on there, that doesn't matter. A lot can be problematic because it'll ooze out the edges and stuff like that. But it's not like oh, there's it's just a thin layer. Maybe I'll put more on and it'll be better, because that's not what thermal paste does. Thermal paste is actually less conductive of heat than the metal that surrounds it. The purpose of the thermal paste is to actually smooth out microscopic ridges and troughs in the metal. So if you were to look at what looks like a smooth piece of metal under a microscope, you would see that it's actually full of like ridges and valleys, essentially. It's all got cracks and shit through it, and the thermal compound just flattens that over and makes the two pieces of metal come together and make really, really good contact with each other. So you don't really need a shitload of it. You need just enough to make a nice thin layer all across the CPU.
Trent says good day all.
Hey Trent, how you going?
Says thanks for helping out Clive as well.
Oh, that's all right. Okay, so we've got our CPU cooler attached to the board there, so we'll just push the board over here for now. Now we can turn our attention to the case. So I'll put these RGB cable extensions down here with the graphics card, and we can start with the fans. Power supply in these cases is one of the last things that you want to install. It just makes it a lot easier to route all the other cables nice and neatly. Have you got somewhere in there? It's getting a bit cluttered behind me. Alright. Yeah.
Trent says now you can play games without lagging.
Yep.
It's fine. Listen to us. That's why I send send people to this fella.
Zamon, are you the guy down in like Kingston, or down like Crestmead or somewhere down that way? Because if you were, I'm not actually shipping it to you. I was just gonna come for a drive down there, because I usually got business down that way. Sunnybank, Mansfield, 8 Mile Plains, etc. So it's no worries for me to drop that off to you. So might even motivate me to come take it tomorrow. Because I do have some warranties that I got to do. Got to take them back. Huh? No, I'm bringing it to him. I'm not refunding him for shipping when I'm bringing it to him. That's still shipping. It's better than shipping if I bring it to him on a Sunday. Oh yeah, if you're not the guy from down that way, then I'm mixing you up with someone else, and I do apologise. All right.
Tim?
Yeah.
So good to watch and see the builds. Can't wait for mine to roll. I haven't had a PC in years.
Oh really? Yeah. Oh
I
mate.
know yourself then.
Yeah. No, seriously, it's come a long way since then. So that is that back one. Put that up here for now. Oh, we'll take these. Who actually uses these SSD trays that they put down here?
I don't like them on that side. I don't want to see them.
Nah. It's like a flashback to like a bygone era. Like when showing off your SATA SSD was like a flex as to how powerful your computer was.
Maybe in a black case might be alright, but it just sticks out in a white one.
Yeah, and I mean, where is it? See this?
You can put them on.
You can mount one here as well. You can actually see the top holes. See, you've got those rubber bits. They, like, you can screw a 3.5 inch hard drive into that, and you can screw a 2.5 inch SSD into that there. And if you really wanted, you could actually still get an SSD in the top ones as well, because it's the same distance there.
There's no moving parts, so it's not
Yeah,
a jiggle.
there's not a jiggle or anything. Anyway, I really don't have use for these because for consumers, we're sort of going away from them as like primary storage because of the M2 form factor. Alright, so what we want to do here, we want to put some of these fans down. And we want to make sure that they're drawing cool air in from the bottom and blowing it up. Because ideally we want some cool air being blown directly on our graphics card, and this is a good way of doing it.
Tim?
Yeah.
I like to use a USB-C station dock to plug in and out HDDs.
Yep.
So my computer's like a Nintendo 64 with the game drives kinda.
Yep. Yep, I know. Yeah, it's like the 2.5 inch form factor, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere for the foreseeable future. But for your average person at home, it's going to become less common. because an M2 drive fits nice and neatly into laptops, so there is production efficiencies involved there when you can just stick to one thing that works, and especially something that's going to work with modern laptops and modern laptop designs, which increasingly don't have the 2.5-inch drive bay. So
fill up so quick with Teameks.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I mean, you can get a 2 terabyte SATA SSD for extra storage for about $250. That's not too bad. You can get 1 terabyte SATA SSDs for about 100 and you can get them on special for like 110 if you keep your eye out. That's for like reputable brands and stuff. Get all these little twist ties off these. Oh, what's happened there? Oh, it's okay. I thought we had a connector to repair, but we don't. See, I can't be bothered like taking something back for warranty. If it's something that I can fix, I just fix it. If it's like a bad connector or something like that, I'll just attach something new to it, you know? Warranty claims are like last resort stuff. But, you know, no doubt, they get them all the time from ordinary consumers. Well, I bought this 3-pack of fans, and one of them has a bad thing, so I want to get the whole thing refunded. Okay. So one thing about these Leon Lee fan screws is they aren't very hard to screw in, which is nice. Because screwing in a heap of fans is the one time where I'm like, oh, get an electric screwdriver for this. And yeah, really sorry if you've sent me a message in the last like 24 hours or so. I've got so many messages in there. I haven't been able to really make a good crack at them today, but I'm gonna have a good crack at them tomorrow morning. So bear with me. As a sole trader, at tax time it gets pretty crazy.
Everybody wants peace.
Yep. Yeah, the people have messaged me 6 months ago, going, "Hey mate, how you going? I'm keen to get a PC." And unfortunately for most of them, if they got a quote from me 6 months ago, graphics card prices have gone up since 6 months ago. Okay. What?
Nick says they screw in only because you got a flash a screwdriver to.
Hey, it's the same as my other one. It just doesn't have a broken end.
It's just in better shape.
Yep.
Tim?
Yeah.
Says, how do you set your PC build prices?
How do I set my PC build prices? So it all depends on how long it'll take me to put one together. So you would have seen me put together Zamon's PC today. It took like 2 hours. So he got charged for like 2 hours worth of labour for the build plus the Windows activation. So yeah, this one here, this is a longer build. So obviously we've got a lot more fans to go in. Yeah, a lot more cables and stuff to mess around with. You know, it's just way more work involved in it. So obviously, I can't just charge a flat rate because yeah, I'd just be ripping myself off. No one's building PCs like this for free. But yeah, so yeah, I'm just pulling the fans out of those channels there because I'm going to mount them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
It's just so I can mount them like this. And then you won't see any cables at the front.
Oh. Tim?
Yeah.
Josie says I snagged a 3060 Rockstrix off Umart for 1,042, such a steal.
Yeah, I've got a heap of them actually. Well, not a heap, like 3.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, but see, I'll tell you something about Umart. All right, you want a hot tip on where to save money on your PC build parts. Okay, go to Umart. Change your location to South Australia to the Croydon store. What difference will that make? Well, that's their new push into a new state. So Umart is a small business run by people of Asian descendants, and they are finger on the pulse businesses, right? Like they know what they're doing. They have different
Their prices
prices.
are so cheap. Like
They have-
places like JB Hi-Fi won't price match.
Yeah, they won't
They're
price
like,
match
nah,
it.
man, we won't be making any money.
We won't price match Umart. But yeah, that's the thing. They have different prices at different times of the day. Okay? So if you know what times of the day to buy, you can save a heap of money. Also, that Croydon store gets all of the stock preference, so they send all of the stuff that they can't get much of. They'll send it to that store as a preference. So you can get like full range of 3080s, 3090s, the TIs, whatever. You can pretty much get them all at that Croydon store. If it's out of stock, where you're planning on picking it up from, chances are if you change it to Croydon, that'll be the store that has it. And you'll find that a lot of things are cheaper, and you'll see that something will be like, it'll be just, this one's $7 cheaper now, this one's $10 cheaper now, and then by the end of the order it might be $60-$70 cheaper, and then it might only cost you $30 to get it shipped to you. So, yep, bang, you're ahead.
Zaman So, do you have any pictures of the biggest build you done?
Do I have any pictures of?
The biggest build.
Oh well. I mean that's a little bit subjective, really. I mean the big, like, if you want to, like, the most expensive build I've done in terms of the dollar value is probably the Threadripper workstation. That would have been the most expensive in dollar value. But I mean that's not really a gaming PC. Had 3 graphics cards though.
Cool. So, do they still have computer fairs?
Computer fairs. Not that I'm aware of. They have. I mean, it's more commercialized and stuff these days. It wouldn't really be a fair. They'd probably call it a technology roadshow. I mean, I worked in sales for big multi-billion-dollar companies and stuff like that, and usually that sort of thing they call it a roadshow or a trade show, and it's usually.
I haven't seen any promotions at the store.
Nah, I haven't seen anything like that. I'm assuming when you say PC Fair, that's a more like community-based one where like local people like come out and show off their rigs and stuff like that. I guess you got the same sort of thing, but it's all online now. I guess.
Joan says found this out as well. Good tip.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Like, so they're doing it. Obviously, they're doing it because they want their new business in Croydon to be successful. They want to be able to go, hey, we made this much money in our first year, and they're willing to give you an incentive to shop there. Yeah.
Computer fairs were just a bunch of wholesale sellers getting together and selling PC parts.
Yeah, more like a yeah. I know what you're talking about. I sort of miss those days. It was like the the flea market days, like the Sunday markets. You could just go down there, and there was a whole heap of small traders selling all sorts of random stuff. All like. There was so much stuff at a good Sunday markets back in the day that like it rivaled going to a proper retail store, because a lot of the really niche items that you couldn't find in mainstream stores in Australia at the time, they were being sold by small traders at those markets, and people were making big money there. Like when I was 12, I was buying Pokemon cards off the internet from America that were a few series ahead of what was released in Australia, and I was selling them down the markets, and I'd make $400 every Sunday, cash, and probably maybe $250 of that would have been profit for like 5 hours on a Sunday morning. My dad just couldn't believe it. He'd just be like, they just kept fucking handing you money. Couldn't believe it. Well, see, I went down there, and there was like all these guys selling all these Pokemon cards that weren't available, and I'm like, where the fuck they get them from? And so I went home and I went on eBay, and I'm like, that's where they got them from. Oh, well, how much is that? Okay, 2 boxes shipped over here. Okay, $128. Yeah, I think I've got $128 in my sad 12-year-old bank account. Let's send it to America and see how we go. Alright. So we got all those fans installed. Got these cables all running out the back here. And so that's where our power supply goes, and see this hole down here? It's really hard to sort of get to the stuff if you put the power supply in too early. And it makes it really easy to sort of get to everything else if we do that. So we could also remove this 3.5-inch drive bay here as well. And this is another place where you can screw in SSDs. So just to show you that those things that I chucked out really were redundant. Okay, so let me get that out. Now we can turn our attention to mounting our motherboard and our cooler. So,
Tim,
what?
Buddy went to chomp on this with his bottlers and he was like, oh, hang on, that's hard. You don't want to chomp on the screwdriver, mate.
Alright, let's see these. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. We've just got our standard 9 offsets. No offsets to adjust here. It's just a standard 9 board. And we have the offsets all pre-installed. Okay. Okay, so we've got our motherboard screwed in there. We haven't mounted our cooler, and the reason why is I want to get all these things plugged in at the top here. So I'm going to use this fan controller. These came with the 3-pack. Just in case you had a motherboard like the one from this afternoon, only had 2 fan headers. We do have 8 on this board, but we can utilize this and it will be a bit neater. So I'm going to plug that in to this header up here, and that'll be concealed with our CPU power. Now we can plug 6 fans into there. And sweet. Alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to DC power our radiator. So I'm going to plug into this. So that's got the 12 volt DC pins on this SATA connector back here. So we're just going to plug that in to our power supply. And then we've got 6 fans out there, and we've got 2 fan headers up here, and I want to try to get actually I'm going to have to yeah, I'm just putting this cable behind the motherboard. Okay, so all we have to do is plug 1 fan in up there to our CPU power, and then all the other fans can be plugged into this controller. And let me just turn it around so people can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to put that up back here. And hopefully that's not too close to our power supply. Spit it out. I'm just going to tie these off here. There we go. So now I've just got RGB wires. Okay, so we'll put a bit of electrical tape around these. Okay, so we have a daisy chain there that will go for our Leon Lee fans. It's a different connector, and then we're going to daisy chain the rest of them up to this one, and then we're just going to plug that into the top of the motherboard. right? I'm just going to put these temporary bolts in here. Okay, so now we've got these additional cables here to deal with. So, got a fan and another fan and another fan. Excellent. And we have get our cables crossed over. We've got these two. Go in there. Excellent. Stay back there and out of the way. There we go. Alright, so now we're just left with these RGB cables. So we can start up here. And these will all need to be electrical taped.
Tim?
Yeah. Hey Tapiri, how you going?
Did you I think you might have answered this. Says, what's the controller about? And did it come with the motherboard or case?
What's the controller about?
I think that might have been the...
Oh, the fan controller. They came with the fans. So, these Lian Li ST120 3-packs of fans, they come with a RGB daisy chaining harness for the fans that converts to a standard 5-volt RGB header, and they also provide you with a 6-fan pulse width modulation fan header that is addressable, so you can plug that into the motherboard as I have done. So, and then yeah, this is a 5-volt splitter, so we can have our Lian Li line, and we can have our generic line over here. Oh yeah, yeah, it's going to be a beauty.
Tim, Vigilante says hello again.
Hey, how you going?
On YouTube.
Good to have you with us there on YouTube. Yeah.
Says, sorry. Yeah, cool. Thanks for that. Oh, jeepers. You right?
Yeah. I need sharper nails.
Maybe you should just use a pair of scissors.
It's too much effort. That's another tool that I need. Thumbnails better. So what I'm doing here is not essential, but it's essential if you don't want to deal with your RGB lights stuffing up.
because RGB tends to come unplugged.
Yeah, especially these plugs. That's why Leon Lee has these special clip ones for him, so you don't have to do what I'm doing here. Okay, so we've got our Silverstone stuff hooked up, and now we'll hook up our Leon Lee ones.
Tim,
Yeah.
Andrew wants to know how much is this ring?
This one, I can remember the price of this.
Aha!
Yeah. This one is 6,000, what should I call it? $6,000 dues. I was like, I'm definitely ripping off someone. Who am I going to rip off? Will I rip off The Simpsons or will I rip off John Cadogan? He would have said 6,000 shitsillion micro pesos.
I think that would have been better, actually.
Yeah, but I don't like to. He's cool, man. I don't want to like rip him off. Okay, so we've got all of our fans and all of our RGB all hooked up. So we've got a nice mess of cables here. There's some front panels and stuff to hook in there now, but we've got most of our stuff in place. So we'll just deal with these two that we need to.
Tim,
Yeah.
Andrew does a little shocked face and a 6K.
Yeah.
It's an expensive girl, but it looks good and it's, yeah.
Yeah.
You know who goes to the dojo on YouTube says hello, Tim.
Hey, how you going?
That's an interesting name. Do you actually go to a dojo?
Yeah. Because that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, screwdriver. Okay, so we've got all of the cables that we need to dealt with. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Yes, I do. Nice.
So yeah. Alrighty, we had one of those front panel connection things. Let's use it. Jesus, this is like really hard to get these in. Huh? No, I'm not fixing that.
It's broken.
Yeah. It's just designed to make it a bit easier to plug these little tiny cables in. It's certainly not essential. Oh, we've got that USB 3 down there. That's a real pain. That is a real pain in the ass. Okay, so it's starting to take shape here now. We got our power supply. So 80 plus gold, fully modular, 850 watts. So we'll need this, our 24-pin ATX power for our motherboard. We won't need a Molex. I'm powering it with a SATA DC. We need CPU power, and I want another one of them. Yes. Okay. Oh. Do not unplug the fan header while you do this. Excellent. Okay, so we can mount this cooler properly now. Hey babe, can you come hold this for a second? Just one more. Yeah, got it. Yeah, I got it.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so I've got to go down. The build is looking good, ladies in peace.
Alright man, have a good one. Yeah.
This is a real good determination. And it says 3080 Ti instant card.
Yep. Still waiting for someone to show me the game that needs all that VRAM. Okay. Alrighty, that cooler is mounted. So now we'll just turn our attention back to the power supply. That is a third CPU power. Huh. They have given you an extra CPU power cable and one less graphics card cable. Oh, there's nothing wrong. We can still do the build. They gave us an extra CPU power cable and one less graphics card power cable. That's okay. I was just seeing if I had a spare one, but I don't think I do. But that's okay. We can still move forward. Oh no. Oh man.
Did you fuck up?
I fucked up.
What'd you do?
See, always assume that you fucked up and they didn't make a mistake. There we go. Would have been like, why is it not turning on? It should be turning on.
Tim.
Yeah.
Ben says, love those master boards. And he says, Lovely is asleep. Sorry, Tim.
Ah, no, that's all right. That's all right, mate. So. At least I can laugh about it.
Tim.
Yeah.
Fred says, what's the difference between cables?
Oh, the pinout's different. So, be very careful with modular power supplies, okay? They're, just because the cables fit doesn't necessarily mean the pinout's the same. So, you can easily fry your devices by forgetting about that. So you want to use the same power cables with the same pinout, and I shouldn't be showing people how to do this, it's just putting them at risk. So the pinout, you can see the cables inside, and you can see the direction that they're routed. So what you need to find is two cables that have the exact same cable direction and pinout. Okay, if there's any of those cables go the wrong pins, smoke. Or the opposite of smoke, which is like nothing, just won't work. One is significantly preferable to the other. So yeah, that's why I was going through a spare box of heaps of modular power supply cables, and I was just looking to see if I had an exact match for that pinout. So I was just like, what? Surely not. Surely it didn't stuff up like that. Okay, so we don't really need this Molex cable, and we don't really need the second SATA cable. But we will need one SATA cable. I mean, it's always good to plug one of these in anyway, because you might not need one at first, but then you might find that you'll buy some sort of device that will require a SATA power, and then you'll be digging through your bag looking for it. It's just one extra cable, just plug it in. Now, ATX power supply. So you can see here on one end we have 20 plus 4, or where's the plus 4? 20 plus 4, so 24 pin ATX power, and then if we come back around here we can see that we've actually got 30 pins. We've got a 20 plus a 10. So this isn't like two different optional connectors to plug in. These are two connectors that both need to be plugged in. So just FYI. There we go. Alright, so our power supply is all hooked up and ready to go. Just slot it in there. Okay, so we've got our CPU power already hooked up there. Got a couple of SATA power connectors to hook up. But realistically, these can sort of just get tied down. No zip ties. Jesus. Okay, so now we've just got our graphics card and ATX power to hook up. These RGB cables, we're not going to do anything too intricate with them. We've got them all tied up. They'll just get tucked away. This is So that's all hooked up there, looking nice. So let's have a look at these cable extensions.
Is there anything that's missing?
What?
Strips.
Strips? Yeah, I mean we could add some extra RGB strips in if you want. They're like $20 each. I mean, it's already got a lot of RGB in it anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so what we need to do is consider where we're going to run these from.
Might want to mount the graphics card first.
Yeah, I'm thinking we will, just because I want to see what this all looks like in the case, because I want to put these look really awesome, and we got to get them in the right spot, because there's obviously more than one way that we can position them. Alrighty, here it is. The RTX, basically 3090. And that is a chunky card, to say the least. So it's going to be kind of fun, isn't it, with these? How's it going to work? Yep. So they're just kind of spaced a bit there. Just have to pull them apart to kind of fit. They still look better than the other ones. So we need slots 2 and 3 at the back here. It is a 3 card length, a 3 slot length card, but it only takes up 2 cards worth at the back. So, you see my screwdriver? Is it underneath? Throw it off onto the ground. So we need slots 2 and 3 here. And what we're going to do is we're going to change these black slots out for white slots. Do these ones fit? Not really. Alright. Swap that out. No, I don't think I've got any more of the exact same white ones, but that's okay. That'll go down there, I reckon. And then as for the CPU, we just go around like this, same direction as the pipes. No, like around like that, same direction. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to hook these up behind the scenes here. Oh, hang on. We need to do this. We have to use this controller. Can't not use it. Yeah. All right. So. Okay. That looks like a rig. So now the moment everyone's for, how are we going? 2 hours? Yep. Where are we?
It's heavy.
Is that better?
Yeah.
What's up in here?
Feels like it's kind of loose on that header. It's not all the way in. Oh, jeez.
No, we've
It's
got.
like it's having a seizure.
No, what we've got here is got too much power. Okay. Have we stalled again?
Yeah. Let's just
So we're gonna have to do a BIOS update.
Is there a crappy cable somewhere?
No. No, it's just better. It's just too much RGB for it for the one header, which can happen. Babe. BIOS. Can you download BIOS for me?
Could possibly do that. What am I looking for?
So you want to search for a B550 Aorus Master.
P550 AOS Master.
Mm-hmm. So we the first one there, B550 Aorus Master Rev 1 gallery. Click on support. Yep. Scroll down. BIOS. So yeah. And scroll up. F13. Yep, download. Just Alright, so go to downloads, you gotta extract it and just copy the actual file. Is it? Yeah, extract to B550 Aorus Master F, yeah. Okay, right click, go extract here. Yes. 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 Where is it?
So I don't think you're going to find it. That's really weird. Where's it going?
There. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Refresh. That's that one. New volume.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's taking a while.
Just touch the USB drive. Oh no.
And suddenly it's done.
Hmm. Let's reboot. Alright, let's run this update and then we'll be able to boot.
Have you fixed the RGB?
Yes, the RGB is fixed. Yeah.
Hectic job. YouTube says nice setup.
Yeah, this is an awesome rig. 5900X and RTX 3080 Ti. I don't know, just sort of seems like, you know, nice car. What's the retail one of those? More than you can afford, pal. 3080 Ti. Don't mind the next scene of that. You get smoked by someone with like two 3090s in SLI in like a beige box.
I'd really like to see somebody do that.
The ultimate sleeper. I should build the ultimate sleeper one day.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Hey, I got a spare 3070. That'd make a pretty good sleeper. Just be like, I don't know, post photos of your computer and be like, what can I do to make my computer better? So we had a very old BIOS on that board from the 31st of July 2020. So it's almost a year old.
Come here.
And now it won't stall. Alright, let's install our operating system. Shouldn't take long with a 5950X.
59.
5900X.
Tim,
Yeah.
enjoy themselves. Can I catch up with you for 5 minutes after the stream, Tim?
Yeah, no worries. Or it might be better tomorrow. Okay, so yeah, so you're having an error with your game. So the first thing I'll say, have you made a GeForce Experience account and have you downloaded the latest game-ready drivers from NVIDIA? That's the first thing you want to check with a game problem, with a DirectX error. And these driver updates and stuff, these happen all the time, okay? Like every week. So you'll be constantly updating the drivers and they'll be constantly updating the games. And you'll constantly have to update your drivers, if not the game will crash. So that kind of thing will happen. Hey Dylan, how you going, mate? Good to have you with us. Alright, so this is pretty much done. So now we'll plug some internet in. Alright, let's get these Windows updates done. So we'll put down some custom desktop icons, keep our desktop nice and organized. AMD Ryzen master. We don't need that, We do need App Center. Okay, so I'm just going to let these just install. I'm going to have a quick smoko. Okay, why have we rolled back graphics card driver? Yeah.
Did you see?
No, I haven't seen any of the comments yet. I saw Dylan's comments.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't, but it seems to be still doing it. I thought the files maybe corrupt, so I can leave it and be down on it and like we'll drive it so up to date.
What AIO is on that? This is the Silverstone PF360 in white.
Tim,
Yeah.
share this over on YouTube says hello. How can you do that? With how do you do that? You're awesome.
How do I do that? Oh, just watch the video. You can see it all come together.
Tim?
Yeah.
Okay, so say sample of those 120
Nah, it's not the Galahad.
No, Tim. Oh yeah, no. Is that the only Galahad 360?
No, it's not the Galahad 360. I'm liking the look of these Silverstone ones because in the white case it's got the snowflake in the middle of it. And because all the AIO is pretty much made by two manufacturers, it doesn't matter what brand you buy. They're all of pretty similar quality and performance.
Tim?
Yeah.
Teameks is on the invoice you quoted the Leon Lee Galahad 360 Tim. Did you fuck up?
I don't think so. If I did, that's my bad and I'll swap it, but...
you did, Tim.
I did?
Mm-hmm. Fucked up.
Excellent. Yeah, I won't be changing it tonight.
Sounds like it's tomorrow.
Yep. It's definitely a tomorrow project. Yeah, so this is what put me off. See the box? So it's got a black cooler on the front, and then it says white in a little sticker there. So I've seen that and going, oh, that's not yours. It's all white. I'm sitting there going, I didn't fuck up. Didn't fuck up. battle net didn't install properly.
Teameks says happens, at least we picked up on it tonight, Tim. Says take your time to rush. If I can not give it tomorrow.
Yeah, all good.
If not tomorrow, definitely Monday.
Yeah.
We'll try for tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's just a bit. My 100-year-old grandfather is in palliative care, and as you can imagine, my mum is pretty upset. So I got to go see the mother tomorrow. I got to fit that into my very busy day.
Totally forgot all about that.
Yeah, so we have to fit that in tomorrow as well. Yeah, that's why I said I'm not doing this tonight. I'm like going to bed. Fucking box. I knew it was like that as well, because I've installed them before. I'm not new to that cooler.
No.
I think we got everything we need. Should we run the PC game benchmark detector?
Tim,
Yeah.
Dylan wants to know, do you have Discord?
No, I'm not on Discord yet. Oh look, apparently we can run Valorant.
Stepping up in the world.
100% rated PC. You can run 1,000 of the top 1,000 most popular games listed. A PC game benchmark at a recommended level. Which games can you run? It'd be better to show me a list of which games we can't run. Yeah, bit of a joke. I just did that for the comedy, because we already know that this is a weapon.
Tim.
Yeah.
This is you can have a free PC. Joke. Well, how about you, Tim?
Hey, how you going? I've given away one free PC.
Maybe you might do it again one day.
Maybe one day we'll do it again. Pretty sure we got everything here. Don't need IQ. No, I'm not installing any of that other stuff. Alright. Battle.net, Origin, Steam, and Epic.
Tim.
Yeah.
Dylan says, oh my god, I just want to find out how much I have to spend on the PC to get the fluffy cat included. He says, just remember to like, subscribe, and comment below. Where is said cat? I think he's hunting a little one.
No, yeah.
He's in one of those moods.
Have you fed him?
Yeah. He had a big bowl of chicken. Came up for more. He's like, no, I had a big bowl. He was doing exactly that, Tim.
Hunting her.
Yeah, he was literally about to pounce on her.
Alrighty.
Rainbow.
It's looking pretty colourful. You got a favourite colour? I mean, rainbow is like the most common theme. Yeah.
We're seeing Laura's family down here, her grandma, aunt and uncle and my parents, and there's a going away lunch at North Lakes. It's not long now, we're going from Brizzy.
Yep.
Makes sense. Maybe slow change, random colours, rainbow, slow change.
Slow change? Yeah, we can do slow.
Can the colours go like sideways across the cables, or can they just go linear? It's just weird.
Oh, we could probably like program that somehow. I'd have to put it over to the controller, which is hold down there. That's back to the controller.
Bloody hell, there's so many different. Ooh. Ooh, pretty.
There we
Can
go.
you slow that down though?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Alright, how's that looking? Yeah, that looks sweet. They look better in person.
Yeah.
They really do. Alrighty, well, let's see which cooler stays cooler. I reckon they're gonna be like exactly the same.
Kansas, nice. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, fucking oath. Looks like the whole case is kind of like glowing RGB. Every bit of white on the case looks like it's glowing RGB.
Superior says beautiful rig.
Yes. Alrighty. So I guess you want to see what this does. Good. Alrighty. So here is us 5900X right at the top of the pack here. Every other CPU is below it. Multi-thread. You can see that generational leap between the 3900X and the 5900X. So as you can see, we're way better than like early Threadrippers. Absolutely smashing these V3 chips, Xeons. And so as you can see, it's kind of within striking distance of the 3950X. And even if we compare it to these sort of setups here, so this is all of the crazy ones like the 64 core 128 thread Threadripper 3990X, which gets that score.
You can't even see it because of the screen.
Oh. Yeah. But yes, we're not comparing apples and apples here. Very, very different things. If we were to compare... Okay, so if we were to compare this with like something from Intel. So here's Intel's latest current chip, the flagship 11900K. Multi-thread performance. It's not even... It's roughly on par with the 5800X. Single thread. They got their single thread scores up here. No, they don't. That's a pain in the ass. Oh well. Anyway, you get the idea. Okay. Let's run. Let's give heaven a run. Mm. .430 frames a second in the opening scene, that's okay. Has it even gone below 400 frames a second?
I don't think so.
Making a mockery of this, but it is an old benchmark. That CPU's not doing anything.
Oh, it did drop below 400 for a second.
For a second.
Tim?
Yeah.
No, I think it's looks good.
Yeah, man, looks sick. Alrighty. Oh, no issues there with temps. That's good. What can it do with Valley on Ultra?
Maybe you should screenshot those temps so you can compare it to the Liami cooler.
No, I'll do it with Cinebench. Because remember, we're not even really stressing the CPU out.
No. It's doing nothing, it's just choking on.
Yeah. We had a 2060 earlier today around the same benchmark, so you can sort of see the difference between those two cards, worlds apart. Alrighty. Well, damn, I gotta change the cooler. That sucks. At least I didn't fuck up with what I bought. So this one's running at 4K. Alrighty. I think that might be it for that. Oh, the start menu's decided to fail. Let's just reboot. Okay. So this won't be so much a stress test because we don't have the cooler in. But what I want to do I just want to let it run for 10 minutes, open case, and then do the same with the Leon Lee Galahad. Because they have very similar coolers. So we can see here the what we've got on it's keeping it nice and cool while running Cinebench at stock settings. 65 to 66 degrees. Making light work for Cinebench render with those 24 threads. So for Team Blue fans, it looks like you're going to be getting a 24 thread Intel consumer CPU pretty soon. Should I buy one and chuck it in my rig and just to see, just for shits and giggles?
I don't know, should you?
No, I don't think that'd be right. I think I might just go an i5 or something. I don't know. I haven't seen the stats on them. I'll get something. I'll get something new. It might be an i5 just because I know when it gets released, no one's going to cover the i5. They'll cover the i9 and the i7, and no one will.
Who cares about the i5? Eh?
Yeah, even though probably more people will buy that than any other SKU on their list. But yeah, the enthusiast channels only cater to like the extreme enthusiasts, and everyone else is like, oh, but I can't afford that. One of my most viewed videos on YouTube is about the i5-10400F when that came out. So like it's not really, it doesn't look like it's going to pretty much just sit there between 64 and 66 degrees while it's running Cinebench.
It really doesn't need strips, but it almost really does at the same time. I know if it was my PC, I'd go with strips because I like RGB strips.
Yeah.
I need more in mine. 2 is not enough. PC one with the engraving?
Probably Monday.
That's good. Pretty cool. If you want engraving on your PC, we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
We have a guy. What's the business name again?
I can't remember. Look it up. Alright, well, like, I'm not going to be able to do the stress test tonight, and everything's all installed and set up. Changing a cooler doesn't mean we need to change anything else about this setup. So, the operating system's installed, everything else is working fine, all the drivers are installed. Just get rid of the shit that opens up automatically when you start Windows. And so yeah, you can always come in here and turn off all those things that piss you off. Realtek HD audio, you can leave that running. That's just audio drivers and stuff. You want your sound to work. Windows security, yeah, you want Windows security to work. All this other shit is optional. So it might just make like 2 renders. Yep, just made it. With like 3 seconds to go. Alright, well, I'm just about to head off, so if anyone's got any final questions tonight, now is your time to speak. Because I'm about to go to bed. There we go. So, got up to 66 degrees for a 10-minute run with the case open. So, I will screenshot. Oh. I will screenshot that. Alrighty. And we'll compare it with the other one tomorrow. Alright everyone, so thanks for watching tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.